Welcome back to another flashlight review. Today I'm going to be looking at the Wuben X3 prototype, and this is probably the most unique flashlight that I've seen in recent times. I really like that Wuben keeps stepping outside the box, and it's definitely working. It's rare, I think anyway, to see any new flashlight designs out there. A lot of companies just use the usual cylindrical form, which has been tried and tested. It works, but sometimes you just want something a bit different, and this is where the X3 comes in. So the X3 that I'm reviewing, like I mentioned before, it's a prototype, but if you want one, you can actually pre-order and back this project on Kickbooster. So if you're interested, I recommend using my link in the description. You'll be able to get an early bird discount. Now, I should mention with this review that this light is still a work in progress, and Wuben loves to get feedback from different reviewers and also the community before they release their final model. So I will be providing Wuben with some extra constructive feedback, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well, some of these points later on in the video to make sure that they can perfect their final release model. So I've used this light for about a week now, and I'd say one of the most unique functions of the X3, one of the first ones that I noticed anyway, is the rotatable head. So you basically just rotate it, and you can only rotate it in that direction as well. If you try to push it in the other way, it just feels like it's not going to move, it's not going to budge. You probably don't want to, otherwise you might break it. But other than that, it's very smooth, feels nicely lubricated, locks into place at the end as well. And also when you switch it on, it keeps electrical contact the entire way, which is pretty amazing. Having this feature allows you to configure the LEDs into a front-facing orientation, so you can clip it on to your bag strap, your belt, your pocket, and it will be facing forward. So if you want to use it as a walking light, or if you want to use it as a more traditional light where you're holding in your hand, this is going to be much more ergonomic rather than having it in this orientation here and having to hold it in front of you. The version that I received from Wuben is the micro arc oxidation version here. So I have noticed that other reviewers received the black version. There's probably random ones that were sent out to different reviewers. I don't see all too many differences between my version and the other ones that were sent out to other reviewers. Apart from that, though, I did see perhaps a slight difference here with the back of the flashlight. I'll talk a little bit about that afterwards. I also noticed that on the Wuben website that there are a few other iterations of the X3. So a few different other body styles, especially with the charging dock as well. There's an aluminium version as well. One of the things I really like about the X3 is that it comes with this red LED here. Makes it perfect for nighttime use so that you don't mess up your night vision. Okay, it's got decent throw as well, considering how small of an LED it is. And there is actually another version that if you don't want the red LED, you can have two of these LH351Ds in here at 1200 lumens. So I like that Wuben offer a whole range of options in there depending on your circumstances. So this is what came in the box. You've got the X3, you've got the dock here, and this is actually wireless charging. The X3 comes with wireless charging, so it basically just slots in there like that, starts charging. I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. It has a little diffuser here on top. There's also this here, which is a USB-C cable. It's a hidden USB-C cable. Let me just show you how it works. You basically just press onto there and you can pull it out, and you've got USB-C to USB-C, but it also functions as a lanyard. I think that's quite innovative, and you just wouldn't realize that there is a cable running through there. Also got this instruction manual that was included, and it's just, you know, this is for reviewers. Thank you for reviewing the Wuben X3, and just says that it's a prototype. Welcome any suggestions. You can see here just some diagrams of the light, some instructions in here as well. Yeah, bits and pieces. On the back here, there's a few specifications as well. So on the LH351D, you can see 700 lumens stepping down to 200 lumens, and on the red LED, 70 lumens stepping down to 30 lumens, and 1.02 meters of throw. I think that is definitely an error. That should be 102 meters of throw. I think that's what they meant. But other than that, not too much that's necessary to go through in the manual. So I want to talk a bit about the overall construction, LEDs, lens, and the bezel. So you can see here the body of the flashlight seems to be made of some type of polycarbonate. It's machined quite well, and it's also glow in the dark. They've kept it transparent too, and I'll show you how the glow in the dark, just what it looks like in a moment. But yeah, it's not made of aluminium because you're going to have issues with that wireless charging. And normally I'm not a fan of plastic components, but I do find the body on the X3 to be pretty high quality and well machined. It looks quite similar to the machining you see on the X2, for example. Okay, so there's no sharp points, feels high quality. This is a little close up of the head of the X3, and like I said before, mine comes with micro arc oxidation. It's pretty solid, and that essentially acts as the heatsink for both LEDs. And the LED here with the yellow bit in the center, that's the LH351D, and the 620 nanometer red LED here. Another cool thing is that it has this LED display here. It looks retro, reminds me a bit of those little pocket electronic games from the 90s and 2000s. You know, when you change the modes, it actually changes, like level 2, 50 lumens, that kind of thing as well. Even when you change like the special modes like SOS or whatever. Oops, let me just try to do it. You know, it just clicks, it just says SOS on there as well. So it's definitely a few different screens on there. Quite interesting, and yeah, you'll be able to tell exactly what mode you're in. The bezel here is just anodized black aluminium, and you've got these Torx screws, so 4 Torx screws there that hold it on and attach to the head. Overall, the head feels pretty solid, acts as a heatsink for both of the LEDs as well. It doesn't feel flimsy, like it's, you know, there's any give in there, like it's going to fall off or unscrew or anything like that. I did a little scratch test here just to check what the lens was made out of, and it is definitely plastic. It does have a bit of give to it as well. You've got these dual TIR reflectors, and they appear quite similar to the one that they've used on the X0. So it produces some extra throw, which is nice, but also has quite a wide angled beam. So it gives you a bit of peripheral light, which is important, especially if you're going for a walk at night. And I like how the head twists easily, like I mentioned before, though only in the same direction. Moving to the back of the X3, you have got the clip here, and it's really nice and sturdy, and I was surprised at just how firm it feels attached to the body. The screws seem to go deeper into the case, maybe into some kind of supporting structure inside. I'm not. On the bottom of the X3, you've got these 2 magnets here as well, and they're really strong neodymium magnets capable of picking up, well, this is my Leatherman, which is 200 plus grams, so they're pretty strong, and this will just allow you to use this light hands-free if you want. So you can attach it to the top of the bottom of a car, or you can attach it to a bit of metal or something like that when you're working, or a bench top. You can see the wireless charging coil inside the X3, and the X3 is actually rated at 1000 milliamp hours. Then the power bank here is rated at 3000 milliamp hours. So you're going to be able to charge the X3 at least twice with its 1000 milliamp hour battery. The X3 can also be charged with other wireless devices. So I actually used my phone the other day and was able to charge it wirelessly. That was the only other wireless charging device that I have. But another cool thing is that the case can, if you open it up here, you can access the USB-C port and charge other devices from the case as well. So I was able to charge my phone, some earbuds, just using the X3 case, which is good. This is a little demonstration of the glow-in-the-dark case. So I'll just charge it up with this other light. Okay. And there you go. Nice little feature. Okay, I'm going to go through the UI, and you can see here there is just one switch that's used to operate the light, just on the side here next to the LED display. And essentially if you just click once, you turn on and you activate the last mode that you had in memory. So I'd last use the 1 lumen mode, and once you're in that mode, you can click and hold and you go 50 lumens, 150 lumens, and it just cycles between these 3 modes. At any point, if you double tap, you get 700 lumens. You can also switch off the light, turn it back on, and it will memorize every other mode besides that turbo mode. But you can also access turbo mode by double pressing. Okay, and if you triple click, you get the SOS mode over here. And what we can do as well is go into the red LED. So you click and hold, and I had the last 1 lumen mode selected before, so you can see the red. Click and hold again. You've got the high mode, 70 lumens, and then you've got a 20 lumen flash. I think this one is really cool as well. You can use it as a hazard light, you can use it to attract attention, and a warning light, for example, if your car breaks down on the highway. Another feature is you can actually activate these blue auxiliary lights in here by tapping 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the light on, and you can see here these 2 blue lights here on the side. And I think they look really cool with the red LED on. This is what it looks like in the dark. Really cool sci-fi kind of retro kind of look to it. Alright, so I ran a ceiling bounce test, as you can see here, and this is with the white LED on turbo, and activated turbo straight away, and you can see it ramps down right at the beginning of the test, all the way down to about 1/3 of its output, and continued on way past to the 10-minute mark. It did go a little bit lower, down to less than 30% of its output. I tried to activate turbo again at the 10-minute mark, and again step down very quickly. This is another ceiling bounce test that I ran just on the 3rd mode, so the level 3 mode, 150 lumens, again with the white LED, and you can see starts out at about 100% and starts ramping down to 90 around about the 1 to 2 minute mark, as you can see, and around 5 minutes it steps down again to about 80% of the output, continues at 80% of the output all the way to about the 18-minute mark, and I could see there it was almost starting to step down again. By 20 minutes I just ended the test, but I think that's pretty impressive for the 3rd level, 150 lumens. That's quite bright for such a little flashlight like this, and it's good to know that you've got some sustained output for it. I also did a second ceiling bounce test here with the red LED, very similar pattern as you can see with the white LED. Starts off at 100%, drops to about 1/3 of its output almost straight away, just up, even before 30 seconds, continues on, and I actually had that running for over 20 minutes, but it was still maintaining about 30% of the total output again. I ran another test here with the red LED on low, just facing the sensor, and you can see really not much difference. It goes from about 100 to 90% all the way up to and passing the 25 to 30 minute mark. So low mode definitely not going to be an issue at all. It's able to sustain lumens there. Also did some tests on my Oppo Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here with the LH351D, the white LED, on high mode, I was able to get 81 meters of throw just on switch on, medium 43 meters, low 24 meters. The color rendering index was 95.7 to 96.4, which was pretty high, and the CCT was between 4,773 to 4,912. I couldn't get some readings on a couple of the modes, the eco and low, because the light was just too far from the sensor. I also ran another test with the 620 nm red LED, and I got 42 meters of throw on high and 3.46 meters of throw on low. The Wuben X3 is rated at 700 lumens, though there is another version, like I mentioned before, with 2 LH351Ds rated at 1200 lumens if you are preferring just extra light output and don't want the red LED. The beam has a mixture of throw and flood. I find that the hotspot is a little squarish, but that doesn't bother me. A bunch of considerations I want to talk about that will be important if you're deciding to get this light. And do keep in mind as well with these considerations, these are things that Wuben are actively working on, and they actually want everyone's feedback so that when they release it, they can release a few different models and make sure that they iron out any hiccups. So first thing, of course, is the polycarbonate build, and you can't have this wireless charging without that build. And you've also got that glow in the dark functionality, but yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. As you can see, no sharp edges or funny nicks or things on it. The lid on the charger, I found, does come off if you are not careful, okay? But you can easily add it back on using the 2 pins. But yeah, basically, I don't know how it happened, but at some point I pulled a bit too hard and it detached and these little pins were sticking out. I had to push them out, put the plastic back in and just sort of reattach the pins. But yeah, I do find it can be a little awkward to open and shut the case. Like I kind of have to hold it on the side there and squeeze a little bit. And yeah, for it to open, there's a little latch here at the bottom as well. And so you kind of, it locks in like that. But I think this is a good idea, especially if you want to just use the light in the case. I just think it'd be better if Wuben were to potentially add some magnets on there, or just to make it a little bit more sturdy. When I went on the Wuben website, I did see a couple of different cases on there as well, and there was another one where the actual latch was close to the back and it seemed to be removable. So it looks like they may have a few different designs that they're considering and deciding what to actually release later on. The battery is also non-replaceable in both the charging case and the X3 itself. I don't think that's something Wuben are going to change in their final model, but of course that's a consideration for you if you're deciding to buy it. Another thing is that I hope Wuben end up adding some kind of glass lens on the front, and I know with these TIR lenses as well, they come with polycarbonate construction, but you know, a lot of flashlight companies still add another protective layer of glass on the front, and I just think that adds to a more premium look and makes it more durable in the long run. The LCD screen as well is a little bit funny. I don't know if you can see it so well here. It's difficult to see, but the viewing window is a little small. I've got to move it around a little bit so I can see everything on the screen. It's not really much of an issue, but definitely it's like a little thing that bugs me. So I hope that they increase the size of that viewing window. I did notice as well when I was charging the light in the case that it gets stuck on 95%. Okay, so you can see here, basically just insert the light into the charging case and then you press that little button here in the bottom. Okay, you can see here 90% is charging. Yeah, I found that it just goes to 95 and stops, and you have to wait for over an hour before it gets to 100%. I think that's a bug, because what happened when I took the light out and popped it back in again, it wouldn't charge. And taking a look at the charging display with the light outside as well, it looked like it was displaying 100%, so it could just be a bug. And yeah, on the topic of the display as well, I think that Wuben should put some kind of timer in there to dim the display to maybe 20, 30, 40% when it's been on for a few seconds, even turn it off after a while, because that's going to save some battery. Finally, some reviewers have noted that the backplate does not make proper contact with this kind of sealing area here in the back, this rubber gasket inside, just because of the strain from the clip. And I've seen some of the other models seem to have this bit of plastic that pops out. This back plate here pops out. It doesn't look too obvious in mine, but you can see that it almost comes out a little bit more down the center, and it appears that it may not be making proper contact with that little rubber gasket on the inside. As you can see here, just on the sides, this black area there. So when I push down, it doesn't make much of a difference, but I hope that's something Wuben look into. And you know, I think I read somewhere that they've reduced the width of this clip as well from like 0.8 to 0.6 millimeters to address that issue. Overall, I think the Wuben X3 uses a new innovative design that I've never seen on any other flashlight before. It's a light that you can use for all kinds of things. You can use it for EDC, camping, fishing, hiking. You can just use it around the house. And I think it's a perfect example of what a modern flashlight is capable of. Something that you can even show off to your friends. There are a few things that could be improved in the prototype, and I'll forward those things to Wuben. But even as it stands, it's still a very solid package. Wuben are great at taking on feedback and are working on getting this perfect before public release. So I've left a link in the description if you want to get one through Kickbooster. Use my link there if you want to support me and my channel. You can get the X3 for a special introductory price if you purchase through my link. It's most likely going to go up afterwards once it's released. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment. There's probably a few things here or there that I've missed out, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Finally, if you like this video, do me a favor and click the like button, because that helps me to get this video out to more people. And if you want to see me make more light reviews, make sure you subscribe. Alrighty, I've got the Wuben X3 here. Let's start it off just on the normal mode. And 1 lumen, I can see it on the ground a few meters ahead, but apart from that, can't really see it on the camera. When I bump it up again, this is the second level, 50 lumens. See the trail just ahead. Really nice flood. And I like how that beam is almost 180 degrees, the flood beam anyway. And we'll bump it up again, 150 lumens, and this is, I mean, this is more than enough for a little walking light. And you got a nice centralized hotspot there. See ahead, maybe about 20 or so meters or so, and yeah, you can see it just illuminating those trees to the left a bit. And turbo, 700 lumens, super bright. And I love the beam pattern on this. It reminds me very much of the X0, but just a little softer. The hotspot's just a bit softer, but it is already starting to ramp down. Okay, it kind of just approximates the high mode, actually. Roughly the high mode after ramping down, maybe a tad brighter, but yeah, nice. Let's just reactivate turbo. Let's see if it do it again. Reactivate turbo. Yep. But you switch off, switch on again. There's not a whole lot of heat sinking in the head, so I'm not surprised really. Just glad that you can reactivate it where you need to. Okay, let's go into the red mode, and I can see the red mode here on the ground, just a few meters ahead. Okay, and put it on high, and high is pretty damn good. You can see it throw all the way to the tree. Can you see that? The tree to the left there, it's doing quite a good job. But illuminating the path ahead of me, no problem at all. But I can definitely see it starting to ramp down. Turn it off, double click again, whoops, turn it on, whoops, just got to hold it, there we go. Then you've got the red LED, kind of eerie looking. Let's try again. The head does get hot.